Hello, hello. Happy Flat Sobek Friday, everyone.
Woohoo!
Welcome to another edition of Titan Talk. Isiah here, Killgoon here, and we got the amazing LermyWermy joining us again. Got a lot of stuff to cover today. We're going to be going in-game to show off Sobek and Ra,
the
two new additions. We're going in-game, baby. We're showing it off. And then Lermy's got some info about some upcoming balance that may be headed your way next week. But before we get into it, how are y'all doing?
Doing good. Yeah, I'm a little sleepy today. My toddler decided last night was not a sleeping night. So, but other than that, doing well.
Yeah, I feel this sleepy. I went to sleep as I usually do after work. And then I woke up and it was like midnight. You know, that's normal for me. I just have a very weird sleep schedule. And then there was a burst of energy that I had. And I was like, dang, I have some like work that I could get done right now. So I just worked.
Just always cooking,
I was like, you know, I might as well write the things down that I'm thinking about now or I'm going to forget about them.
That's very true.
So just a little bit of that. And then I was like in such a mood of like, I just felt so productive. I get really productive at like the weirdest times. So like 3 a.m., I'd be writing an essay.
Hours. Yeah.
Those are peak Lermy hours.
Oh, that's amazing. Sweet. Well, before we start hopping into game to talk about Ra and Sobek, just quickly want to pull up. We did have a small patch yesterday with some bug fixes and stuff. We had some stability improvements go out, and we also fixed an issue where early surrender rules were not working as intended. So had that go out yesterday. Always be patching, you know.
Always be
We're
patching.
doing the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the added stability improvements, you know, we like to be precise about things when we can, but sometimes it's better just to be like, hey, we did a couple things. It's going to make things better. Yeah. And so you may see more of these added stability improvements without quite the specificity because it may reveal more about the way our backend works.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So.
Exactly. Cool. Well, let's talk about some potential stuff coming next week in terms of balance. Lermy, you want to walk us through it?
So we had a really, really big update on Wednesday this week for a lot of really cool changes, especially to attack speed for some characters, which just makes them feel a lot more like SMITE 1, which is always good, and then CC kind of across the board. There are a couple characters that are still standing out after that, so the ones that I want to mention are still Amaterasu, Anubis, Hercules, and Zeus are the characters that I'm keeping an eye on right now, just because, you know, we did some changes to their CC. Hercules, of course, has been very standout performance across the board, and then Zeus got a fix that increased his damage by quite a lot.
Yeah, I forget who I was watching. They were like, oh, I think Zeus might be OP now.
I think Zeus might finally be good, guys. Yeah, so he had a bug before that, you know, it's making him do significantly less damage with his one. And now that he's doing full damage, we got to just keep an eye on him to make sure that, you know, he's not too good. But let's let everyone catch on first before, you know, we make any drastic changes. So we're saving a lot of that stuff for hopefully Monday or Tuesday next week is where we're aiming for that. And then, of course, if you guys have any more thoughts on balance, you see things that are OP, you see things that feel bad, or things that, you know, you think could feel better, let me know. Let us know anywhere across the Smite-verse.
The Smite-verse, yeah.
We'll take a look at it and let you know.
And one of the reasons why, you know, the bigger balance passes are waiting until next week is because we have already branched for our next major update, which will be Ra and Sobek and some other in-game features, which we probably aren't going to talk about today, which we're expecting to release next week, hopefully early next week. Yeah. So we'll have 2 more gods next week, which is pretty exciting. And then our plan is then again 2 weeks after that, we'll have another update with more gods, and the hope is that at that point we'll be at 3 gods an update. Yeah. So we are both getting faster in terms of how quickly we're patching, and the amount of content in each patch is going to be going up. So
yeah, whenever we flash tested and we opened up the content restrictions for flash test, so it was really cool watching people stream a little bit of early Ra and Sobek. Had some people asking, you know, I thought this update was going to be 3 gods, but we're moving a lot faster than we initially planned. I was looking at the calendar. Baron Samedi and Yamoja released on October 3rd.
Okay.
Dang, wow, so, it was only that long ago?
Yeah, I know, right? Wow. So it's like 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll have added 6 gods to the roster, including Ra and Sobek. So
that's so awesome.
It's nuts.
It's definitely moving a lot faster, and I think you can feel it if you're playing the game a lot. Like, it just feels like there's always something new, and the meta is changing a lot because new gods are getting added, and we're seeing more kind of counters to specific gods, you know, get added. So it's, I think it's making the game a lot better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, shall we start talking about Ra and
so
Sobek?
Excited.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Cool. All right.
Who are we going to go to first?
Ra.
Ra
Okay.
first?
Let's do Ra
All right,
first.
let's do it. I want to make sure I get my notes pulled up.
I'm going to get in game here. Give me just a second, chat, and I will.
Look at that icon.
Looking good. We'll get here.
You guys will see in a second.
And boom. we should be in game
Awesome.
here. And give me a second. I will unmute, so we should be able to get audio here. Just have to test,
Yep.
We've got audio here.
Yes.
Sweet. So while I get set up here, Lermy, you want to give us just the quick and dirty about Ra and like what he's got going on?
Yeah, of course. So Ra is, of course, an incredibly iconic character in SMITE 1. So a lot of the things that you'll see here are Ra, but better, right? So we're talking a lot of the stuff in terms of his iconic, skill shottiness, his iconic damaginess, but a little bit of utility, a little bit of movement speed in there. He's got the healing still. All of those core things of Ra that you love, they're in SMITE 2 and they're feeling great. So as you can see, he's got normal, standard, range basics. You can see his animation, of course, is also a little pumped up. He's getting into it. He's swinging, and he's really throwing his whole body into it, which makes it feel just so much more immersive, I guess you could say, is just to see how much energy he's really throwing into those basics.
And with the updated model from SMITE 1
yes,
as well.
Of course,
so,
yeah.
Looking clean.
Hard to not mention that.
Yeah, these are the, when we previously showed this, it was kind of the temp colors. This, is, I believe, is the final colors. So hopefully people are excited with the way he's looking. But
I just love how reflective the metal is as well. It really does make him look so regal. He is kind of the I guess the chief god of the pantheon, more or less, right? Ra is the center, right? That's the sun typically is for a lot of cultures. So having Ra feel this kind of kingly nature really does suit him very well. So I love how we blinked him out.
Cool. So we got the 1 pretty standard that you're used to in SMITE 1 here, but the 2.
The 2 is where things get a
little
little crazy.
Things get a little bit crazy here.
So as you can see, we get some nice update to clarity there, and oh gosh, what's happening with your basic
that?
Yeah. So this is Ra's big spicy +1, where he now gains additional ability shots through his basics. So essentially, these are all different ability fires that he's doing when he uses this too. So he gets a buff after using it, of course. It procs items, which is also really fun. So getting your soul gems, your soul reavers, all those fun things. Let's get some, Divine Ruin. What other fun proc items are there? Let's see.
Gem of Soul Reaver.
Ooh, Gem of ISO basic attacks.
Ooh.
That cooks.
That is fun, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So ADC Rock, question mark? Oh yeah, these also go through things. So it goes through multiple gods as well. So when you basic, you'll be hitting all of them. Yeah! Look at him go. I've seen enough drop this now.
I will also say, I think the clarity on both the 2 and the 3 are really good, right?
Yeah.
I think that we've it took us a little while to figure out how to best make use of all the power of UE5, and I think you're starting to see more and more man, this just looks good, but it's also really clear in the span of the fight.
Yeah, exactly. And one other piece of, I guess, clarity, visual feedback, that we wanted to make sure that we incorporated is we changed the blind just a little bit, right? Whereas in SMITE 1, it's kind of this really intense, bright white flashbang. We wanted to tone it down just a little bit so you still get that flashbang feeling when you're getting hit by it, but not so crazy that it's actually blinding you IRL. You just want to feel like you're getting blinded, not actually be blinded.
Yeah, so that +1 on the 2 really helps out his clear.
Yeah, it really does. He's actually a lot better at clearing jungle now too, because he can just run through it. You could ADC with him, which, Ra ADC has never been a thing before, unless, you're doing it in your casual games, which I respect it, however, but...
But don't do it in my games.
In SMITE 1, no. In SMITE 2, it could be. Jungle Ra, you heard it here, J-Mac.
And the classic ult, another thing that you'll notice too, when you did the ult on him, or when you hit him with an ability, the color of the damage on the health bars you couldn't see it because it got covered over.
1 second.
But the color of damage on the health bars has changed, which should make it easier to read in a fight. So see, it's yellow now, where it was white. And then on ally bars, I think it is red on green bars. So should be easier to read in the span of a combat, not just have the white blinking up.
There have been a lot of improvements to the health bars and stuff like that over the course of the alpha as we've gone so far. So I'm really excited to see how players interact with these 2 basic attacks. I think most of all, just because they have item procs, right? So you can do some crazy stuff with them, and that really does make them feel like little abilities versus basic attacks. It works for either Mage Ra or ADC Ra, which I think is the most fun thing. You can play him in solo too. You can play him tankier, which I think is always a lot of fun to do. A little solo Ra action. You want to be sniping no matter where you're at on the map,
Looking good. Ra's one of my favorite characters in Smite. So just being able to have him Smite too,
yeah.
I'm just
that was one thing that I have been so excited to see, is that when we started to make a lot of these changes to our pipeline, we were like, we gotta get Ra.
Oh yeah.
We gotta get Ra.
Two classic Egyptian gods.
Yes. Oh my gosh. No, let me tell you, Sobek is one of the first Guardians that I ever really started playing, and I can't wait to talk about him up next because he is just so much fun, and I can't wait to play him in Smite 2 as well.
Well, speaking of Flat Sobek Friday and
yes.
Sobek, are we about ready to show off Sobek?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. I'm going to bring us back to cams really quick before I switch out here.
Don't want to spoil anything.
I know, right? That's
Sobek
the classic
time.
here. Sobek time.
And Sobek, a big change. Obviously he got a big model rework as well. So this is 2 big model updates.
Yeah.
And he has, I would say, more gameplay updates than Ra. I think Ra is kind of a classic kit that just works well.
It's just so succinct, so simple. Sometimes, you don't want to mess with perfection too much, right? And so Ra is like one of those characters that is just so, classic, right? I think Sobek, like you said, does have a little bit more room because his abilities are a little bit more spread out in terms of their focus of what you should be doing with them in a fight. So I guess we'll just run through it and then we'll stop. But I guess again, to note a couple of really cool changes to Sobek with his model that's coming through. He is significantly taller. Sobek in Smite 1 actually had the shortest camera out of any character in the game, believe it or not.
Wow,
shorter than Ratatoskr, shorter than Cupid.
Oh, wow, that's insane.
So we've adjusted it now that he's actually taller, so it doesn't feel like your screen's super smushed with him being this big, strong crocodile like he was always meant to be. We moved the camera up to reflect Sobek's new posture, which I think is a lot of fun. And of course, he's got some really fun updates across the board to a couple animations. And he still be flipping.
Yeah.
He be flipping.
His armor looks really good in Smite 2, I think.
Yeah.
I think that passive was always kind of hard to notice in Smite 1, and I think it's a lot easier to see now.
Yeah.
I think it's a new animation on the 3 as well, or has some more flair to it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, I love it. But the 3 actually is the first place that I kind of want to talk about some of the new stuff coming
Let's talk about
to Sobek. So, now this ability, when you hit something, applies a disease that can spread between enemies. And this disease, of course, is the anti-heal portion of it. And then the cooldown of sickening strikes is lowered by the amount of enemies hit by the initial strike up to 4. So the more things you hit with Sobek 3, the more often you're going to get it, which is always a lot of fun. You'd love to be able to continuously get those heals. Right. If you're over at playing some solo Beck, if you're playing some mid Beck, maybe you could do that as well. Maybe you could get a little crazy there.
Cool. So I hit 1 and that was 11 seconds. So let's hit more.
That's crazy.
9 seconds.
Yeah. It is very fun to be able to get those big chunky hits and get rewarded for that.
And then I will only hit 1 Ymir here, and you can see how
it
spreads.
It spreads. Yeah, there's a little damage over time effect with that as well, which is always fun. Love a little extra damage. Bonus magical damage. And then that's the reduced healing as well. So we're still keeping that anti-heal mechanic there for Sobek. Sick, inning strike.
Yep.
A little bit sick, spreading the sickness. Yeah, that's
down with the
there.
sickness.
Ooh, wow.
Of course. And then
Kitten said in chat, your camera is also not locked when you do pluck now, so you can rotate your camera.
Nice.
It feels so good. So you can actually look and see, is your team actually there where you pluck them to? It does feel really nice to be able to turn and get that quick adjustment afterward.
That feels so good.
Real fluid and nice. You love to see that. But I think it's time to lurk in the
Sobek
waters.
execute.
Oh yeah. We talked about this weeks ago, I guess, at this point.
I know, right?
Maybe not even that long ago. Time is a concept at this point.
Yes.
But Sobek, in Lurking in the Waters, can now execute enemies that are low enough under the HP threshold. And you can kind of see there, they got a little marker on them when they are available to be executed, which is always a lot of fun. The HP threshold also scales the longer that you sit in the charge. So it starts pretty low, and then the longer and longer that you charge, the execute scaling does go up. So you can see it's 10 to 25% of their HP remaining if you sit in there the entire duration of the ultimate. beyond that, yeah, I think that's really the biggest. Oh, there's one more thing with the ultimate. Sorry, Sobek is rewarded for kills, execute or otherwise, on enemy gods. With his ultimate, Sobek permanently gains 25 max health each time his ultimate kills an enemy god, and then he also heals from them as well. So he's having a little snack. You know?
Yeah, he's lurking in the water, munching. Coming up.
Yeah, so he does get some extra HP if he is munching on some folks. You can see there, execute, threshold pops up, grab a kill, get some HP. You love to see it. One more other adjustment that I do want to talk about with Sobek that is mentioned on our patch notes, which you guys will get eventually, is that Sobek's charge prey no longer continues for the full time if an enemy dies or becomes CC immune during the pluck sequence. So it feels good that, you know, maybe someone beads, maybe they are knock-up immune, or, you know, whatever it might be. Any of those things that would cause an enemy not to get plucked, or if they die, like mentioned, you will simply transition out of that animation a lot faster, and you'll be able to get back to it instead of sitting there like a citizen's croc and getting hit by things. And that is...
That was a good example of it right there.
Yeah, so you got to cancel out of that animation early, which also feels... really nice.
Lots of good quality of life changes for Sobek.
Oh, definitely.
I will say, just walking around as him, I just feel so beefy and burly. Ben was here earlier, and like the model updates and adjustments, just you feel like the killer croc. It's just so sick. I love
it. Yeah, it is. It's a lot. I guess nice is definitely a word that I will use here, but it feels like such a different experience. Like a Sobek, you definitely feel like a little guy just like lurking around trying to find a pluck, but now you feel like I'm a big strong Sobek.
Yeah.
I love the new UI, like the ability icons.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she has all new ability icons as well, and you can hover over Sobek's portrait, I think, as well to see the new passive one, which looks really great as well. I've been digging the updates to these icons, and I'm super happy that we've been able to get those in.
A ton of work.
Yeah, and the passive meter as well, I think, is also brand new, so that's been a fun experience to get those up and rolling. I'm just so, like, excited to have such an aggressive support like Sobek. We've had a couple of more aggressive supports across the board, right? But Sobek is kind of the best of both worlds, where you can peel, you can set up, you can even kill people yourself with the Sub Execute. So go a little crazy.
Yeah, it's so good.
Crocodile crazy. I love it. I love Sobek so much, so I'm really happy that we get to see him this early in SMITE 2.
Looks good. So on the 3, the minion hits count towards the cooldown reduction as well?
I believe that is correct. I don't know if it's a reduced amount. It might say in the tooltip, actually. I did not get a specific note on that. From the goat Pon, who did a lot of the work in transferring this god over. So, he would obviously be the one to know the best. But yeah, essentially, each enemy hit does reduce the ability's cooldown, and it heals you. Yep. So you love to see that.
Chat was asking if you can blink one.
Oh yeah, 1 second.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know if we can time that quite right, but
do you have your stuff? What is it? If you go to escape.
Let's see here. Escape.
Settings. Gameplay.
Thank you
for walking me through it. Set it to instant. And then I think this should let you do it. So then what you're going to want to do is press 1, and then while you're dashing, press F.
Okay, let's see here.
Can he do it?
No. 1 second here. Reduce my cooldown.
It might also just be laptop diff.
It might be laptop diff. Oh, and I just blinked.
Rip.
Here, 1 second. Reset my cooldowns here.
Boom.
And
cool.
Reduce cooldown.
Yeah.
All right. So, no, I cannot while I'm in that animation.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we tried.
We definitely tried.
I do think, though, that regardless, having combat blink is so big, it's going to feel so very nice.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Blink, plug, or no, you're going to have to watch out, even inside of your towers when Sobek's nearby. He might just go for it, honestly, which I respect a lot. I respect the Sobeks that go for it. Maybe you miss and you fall to tower, you take a couple tower shots, and you have to go back to base, but, it's worth it for the mental damage.
Exactly. Yeah,
of saying, I'm not afraid of any old tower. I'm just going to get in there, I'm going to pluck and see what happens. And if I do hit it, you're dead. So
yep, cool.
That's how it works.
And then on the alt, I don't know if you know, last time I played him, the execute circle was a little bit smaller than it is now. Does it get bigger as you level up? Did we decide it makes more sense just to be...
I think it's the whole area.
Okay.
That's my understanding, is it's the entire area. I think at one point we tested...
while in the ult, though.
Ooh, blink for an execute?
Blink, execute.
Okay, I like that.
Now Isaiah's cooking.
Oh, yeah.
Now Isaiah's cooking with it.
Yeah, maybe we turned down the percentage of the execute and made the area bigger or something.
Yeah,
but yeah, definitely a lot of balance.
We tested a lot of things with this execute to see what was feeling the best, what was being conveyed the best to players as well when they were, testing out the character, and the ambassadors also got to, give their commentary on it as well, and we generally felt that it was going to be the most clear.
That's going to be fun.
I love that. That's my favorite. I'm sorry. I love Sobek so much, so I'm so excited to be able to play him, dude. I can't get over how much this makes my support pool feel better, and I hope it's just as exciting for you guys too to be able to play such a fun, aggressive support that could also go solo, that could do a little crazy stuff in mid, maybe. I've been seeing you guys try a lot of stuff.
I don't know about that one.
Sobek jungle, baby.
Hey, take him anywhere you want at this point.
He's got extra damage now on his 3, so it's very possible that he'll be able to junk. Why am I saying this? I shouldn't be encouraging you guys.
We're going to have some
people
terrorizing the queues early next week whenever Raw and Sobek come out.
There was a question. Can it execute multiple enemies in one ult?
Yes,
it can, as long as they are below the kill threshold.
Yeah,
your middle tower is under attack.
Oh, big munch.
Big munch. Let's see here. We will spawn gods.
Yeah. Now get him low.
Yeah, get him low.
You gotta get to 25%.
Oh, I killed one.
Okay, well,
all right.
I mean, that just shows you how powerful that sickness is.
Well, that's a good point too. As the ult charges, it will show you who is now in execute range.
Yeah, it has its own little bracket marker, which is usually what we indicate the executes with, is having those little brackets. Our friends over in Thanatos has a bracket. Al Kwang's got one when he eventually makes his way over. Achilles as well. All got the bracket. Now Sobek gets to join the club.
There you go.
On a Guardian.
Just feels good, man.
Oh, yeah.
We're so bad. Guardian execute?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, am I forgetting?
So
one?
I think what you're saying to me is it's a hunter's turn, right?
Yeah. Oof. No.
I'm joking. Unless.
Just kind of.
Unless.
All right, cool. I'm gonna bring us back to Cam's here, and then we'll go into Ascension Pass stuff really quick.
Sweet.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in the Ascension
awesome.
Pass for these.
And we'll do Raw first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for people that are joining chat a little bit late, both of these gods in the full update should be coming out early next week, probably like Monday or Tuesday. We probably will be flash testing this more before it fully releases.
Yeah, we already flash tested a couple times. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 over the weekend as well.
Oh, and then I don't know if you want to mention the content rules around testing.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
If you're flash testing, participating in the flash test, feel free to stream, make those YouTube videos. That's one of the prime ways that we get more info on the patch and early insight on issues and stuff to get them fixed up before we release.
And balance as well.
And
I love to see you guys pop up with it, and to know kind of where that cornerstone is from what we've hit on release here.
Cool. So we got the shadow skin for Raw here for the Ascension Pass, and the tracker for the first one is number of gods killed with searing pain.
Of course,
you've got to get the ult kills.
Seared with pain.
And then we've got, of course, the clap emote.
Classic.
Another tracker here. You got your objectives. Then you've got the number of just standard god kills. Moving on, you've got the total distance traveled while Ra's at full stacks of speed of light. So the more speedy you are, you're just going to show that distance here. Then we've got Onyx Rod, the classic black and gold.
Looks good.
I love this one.
Looks good. And then, of course, we've got Opal.
Yo,
my favorite. I just love the purples, the slight hits of orange in these two.
It works so well for him, right?
Yeah, the staff in particular looks so opalescent.
Love that.
Looks good.
Dang, dude, he looks so good at purple.
Of course, the global emote. We're all about the memes.
You hit a 6 snipe, put the glasses on.
You got to put the glasses on. And you got your wave here. Title is Sun God. Fitting. Another tracker for just God kills. You've got your mastery badge.
Oh, it looks so good.
And Radiant Ra.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looks good too.
I love the little hints of blue too. It feels like in the reflections. Yeah, that's nice.
He's looking good.
That is clean.
Cool. And then we've got our border effects here.
Oh, it's simple.
It's classy.
Yeah.
It is. It's really classy. You as the raw main show up with your 1,500 people that you've gotten with your Searing Pain ultimate, and now you just styling them as well.
Styling them. Got a nice flashy border for
look at that beam.
I love the beam over the top of the card art too. Just looks sick.
Yeah.
All right, bring us back to cams really quick, and I will pull up Sobek.
Sobek time.
Boom. And we are so back.
We are Sobek.
Shadow Sobek. This is the kind of god that's going to execute you, right?
Almost undead, like zombie Sobek kind of.
And then tracker, number of gods killed by lurking in the water. So ultimate kills again, but you're going to be getting even more of them with the execute, which is sick. And then, of course, you've got your classic clap.
Classic.
He looks it looks so good with the model changes, too.
Yes.
Look at how tall he gets whenever he starts clapping.
He's
That's
intimidating
nuts.
now.
I know. And then you've got your tracker for objectives. Then your tracker for God's assists. Next one, gods affected by charge prey.
God's plus.
Number of
God's plus.
Yeah.
Definitely get those up in lane. And you've got your onyx.
Ooh, the
Looking
red.
nice.
Very nice.
Oh, I know. It looks good. The eyes are still so menacing, though.
Yeah, they really are.
Looks good. And then my favorite, the opal.
Oh,
I love it. The white. He's like albino a little bit, right?
Silver croc. Oh, dang. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Wow.
Yeah, this one's looking really good. And of course.
Oh, look at the shiny, on the, what do you call those? The spines?
Oh, yeah.
They're so shiny.
I love these little armors, too. Almost looks like there's a little galaxy in there. Looks sick.
Yeah.
And, of course, we tease it out on social media, but Flat Sobek Friday. It's the perfect global
It's
emote.
Flat Sobek Friday.
Art team definitely cooked with this one.
Freaking loser.
Thank you for censoring yourself, of course, got the wave emote. Title is Nile Lizard.
Oh, good one.
Got your God Kill tracker, your mastery badge, and of course, Radiant Sobek.
Ooh.
Looking good.
Dude, the gold on this is crazy. I feel like I say it every time, but how do we keep getting better?
I know, right?
Making the golds golder, everything just feels so shiny.
It just pops so well.
I love it.
And of course, we'll show off the card effects too. Croc vibes.
I love this.
I like it.
Oh, that's so fun. I think we saw at the beginning there the little tail pop up as
Yep,
well.
there he goes on the bottom now.
He's lurking. He's lurking in the border.
Yeah, lurking in the border. Oh, I like that.
Dang, that's so fun.
Sweet. Well, that is kind of our quick little overview for Ra and Sobek. As Killgoon said, targeting early next week for both of those gods to be released. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is 6 gods in October.
Yes.
Released to live servers.
Pretty crazy.
We're cooking.
Yeah, and we're trying to move fast. We understand we need more gods in the game. Hopefully everybody's happy with the pace that we're moving at, and then we're gonna just get even faster here. So next update, 3 gods, and I mean, after this one will be 3 gods, and hopefully, people are excited.
Yeah, sweet. Well, that is all that I had on the docket for today. About halfway through the show. Time for some Q&A.
Let's do it.
Let's do some questions. What's up, chat? How are y'all feeling today? What do you want to talk about?
What questions do you have for us?
Okay. Right now, players who don't own the Founders Pack need to use Legacy Gems to buy newly added gods. Once the new favor currency is added, will we be refunded our spent Legacy Gems? When favor is introduced, will players receive any favor based on their current level, or will we start from scratch? So we're working on a system to unlock gods for free, but it's not going to be through a favor equivalent. Generally speaking, we think that favor was fine, but was not actually a good long-term system for the health of the game. So the way it's going to work is you're going to get, the current plan at least, is that you're going to get tokens to unlock gods as you level up for free. And basically, you just play the game and you'll unlock more gods for free. In terms of the refunding spent legacy gems, I believe there is some plan around that, but I don't know the exact details, so don't quote me on it, don't hold me to it. And right now, you shouldn't need to spend any legacy gems to unlock any gods, because all gods are just unlocked for you to play with temporarily, other than the 2 newest gods ones, in the update. So if you're willing to wait 2 weeks, you'll be able to play all the new gods as well.
Cool here. My iPad's about to die, so I'm going to just pop out chat here on the laptop.
another one is the customization for ability targeters in the game.
Oh.
I was looking for it a couple days ago and I couldn't find it.
I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. I know that there was recently an issue with it at some point. I do think it was fixed. There's a lot of changes that go into the game, so please forgive me if I'm baiting you right now.
I would imagine it'd probably be in like UI settings.
Yeah, I would think it's somewhere like that, or
UI or usability.
Yeah, usability is one of those. But yeah, there's like some opacity settings I think are in there, and just like level of detail. There's like the 3D elements as well that you can turn on and off if you so choose. And then of course you got the basics ones with like your ruler and your ground targeter and things like that. So hopefully you can find all of those. And then if there is still an issue with it, I'm sure that we'll get to it. I think it's on our list for sure in terms of making sure that everyone can customize their usability as much as you want. To make sure that everybody's got the chance to have it look the way they want it to.
Yeah. In the flash test yesterday, when Sobek killed minions with his ult, he got extra max HP. Is this intended? No. And that's something that we found during the flash test. Yeah. So that is something that will not be in the final version of Sobek that ships.
Yes.
But that's why we flash test things. I
think that's correct.
Yes.
I know that Pons is saying specifically.
Yeah, I was watching Weekend Stream, and Ro was in chat too, and he was like, yeah, that's not intended.
Yeah,
that's real good.
Also, the heal from killing gods you were getting off of minions as well. So you're getting max health plus you were healing. Which, we don't want to encourage you to use your ult on minions. We would rather you're ulting gods.
That was the statement from Pon, was that he was like, it's understandable that people would want to like game it like this, so we don't want to encourage that. We want you guys to use your ultimate on enemy gods.
Yep.
Get those sub executes, guys. Come on.
The sub executes.
This person says, I was wondering if there's a reason console is behind in terms of patches. IDK if it's just PS5, for example, but we haven't gotten the patch. It was supposed to have a ton of CERN buffs, AMA ult nerfs, etc. So my understanding is that you did get the patch, but the text in-game is not updated.
That's my understanding. So in general, when we release a patch, it might not be completely updated in terms of the text on your machine, whatever you end up using. That also might be true in jungle practice as well. But when you get into an instance game, which means you're with other players on the server, you're going to have the correct information. So any time that you are playing with other people, you will have the most up-to-date thing no matter what you're playing on, be it PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. All the people that are playing together are playing the same patch. So don't worry about, I'm playing old Kronos and they're playing new Kronos. Yeah, it's not fair, things like that. It should all be on the same place. And the reason, of course, is because you guys are all playing on the central server that has all the updates that you need.
And that is a really good point that jungle practice, or I guess it's just called practice in SMITE too, takes place on your local Xbox or PlayStation and doesn't connect to the server. So it isn't getting the correct stats for things. So if you're like, well, I can prove that it's not working because I go into practice, it won't be working right in practice if it hasn't been updated in the ability descriptions. Yeah. But it will work correctly in live games.
Yes.
I skipped down because we have a lot of questions and I was stuck on the very first few. When
are we getting more items? I know we've talked about this internally a lot.
Yeah.
The focus right now is solely on gods for the most part. That's not to say that we aren't thinking about new items. That's definitely something that we want to add. We've heard a lot of feedback that adding some more spice in the item department to just diversify builds a little bit more is something that players really want. But as the team is working to get to 50 gods on the roster, that's kind of our primary focus right now. Items will come after that.
Yeah, we're also trying to hit items a lot in balance. I know that it's definitely a very interesting build path that we've been through the past few weeks. So we're trying to purposefully go a little bit heavier on some item changes in some places to switch up the builds. If we can't add more new items, at least let's try to add some diversity in what you guys are building. So I think that's kind of our goal at this point with like balance and things like that, is if we're not adding new things, let's at least give you guys some fun, interesting balance to try new builds with.
Since the UI now categorizes some gods under multiple roles, example, Anubis mid and solo, will you be balancing gods to be good in their recommended off roles, Anubis solo?
Ooh, that's a great question. Anubis, specifically, if you ask me, I would say no. However, it depends on what kind of scalings they have, right? So you can play Anubis in solo, but if you're playing him in solo, you got to recognize that he doesn't have any health scalings, doesn't have any prot scalings. He does get protections or things like that, and his passive does help a bit with that, of course. But I think the main focus of him is, because he's got the scalings the way that he does, is he's going to work out the most full damage. So you can play him solo, but realistically, he is a damage character. So you can play damage characters in solo. That totally works. But are they going to be better in a competitive setting versus characters that are tanks in, situations where, most commonly successful comps have 1 to 2 tanks, maybe like an off tank, and, playing that full damage character in solo, maybe not the best for you. Hard to say. Right. So I think in general, our systematic approach to this will be, if it makes sense, yes. If it is just like a fun thing, you see a lot of people play Anubis solo. You want to just play the full damage Anubis solo because you can. Sure, by all means, play full damage Anubis solo. But I don't know how easy it would be to make everyone super flexible in terms of that way, right? I think Sobek is a really good example, right? Because Sobek has all these new features now that make him a lot more viable in solo and can do a lot of other different things in lane as a solo character. He can clear, essentially, is like a lot of the new updates to come with that, where he gets that extra damage, he gets the cooldown reduction, things like that. That makes him a more viable solo in comparison to Anubis, who, does have new features, but not so suited for that tank playstyle that would make him a better solo laner.
A lot of people have been copy-pasting this question about Hell's appearance, basically saying that her Smite version isn't fully mythologically accurate, and that the dark version should be more undead, and in the light version she should have a fluffier, more winter-like cloak. Hell is not in this next wave of gods. We said on Wednesday that Ullr is going to be the first stance swapper coming to Smite 2. So I don't think we've probably put that much thought into how Hell's model will be updated for Smite 2.
We've definitely talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's come up.
Yeah, I would say it's come up in conversation, but I don't think we've actually done any designs or anything.
There's no concrete updates on that in terms of actual changes, but we've discussed it very, what's the word?
High level.
Yeah, high level. Really. Should we change Hell? Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So I would say it's a little bit early to say for sure, but we definitely are aware of the community sentiment around Hell in particular. Chat is moving quickly once again.
There was a question about the tooltips being updated. We kind of touched on that with the PS5 patch being a little bit out to date, but it's just kind of a byproduct of the way we update the game. So if you're in a server-based instance, all the tooltips should be correct. But if you're going to jungle practice, or if you're looking at things in the client, then they will probably be a little bit out to date until we get a client patch out to the consoles.
Yeah, I think this one specifically is also asking about the strength scaling. In theory, it's very possible that some of the numbers were missed because we did a lot of number changes to help with those, strength adjustments. And so what it is that in the actual tooltip itself, with all of the words says that Sobek does and whatever, that space where it actually has the sentences of what you're doing, that is very possible that there could have been some user error when it came to updating those, because those are not dynamically updated. The actual inline damage equals so-and-so, that stuff does get dynamically updated. So it's very possible that that upper section got missed, and we'll definitely keep a lookout for those. If you have ones that were missed, let us know and we'll fix it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you're looking for correct information, that spot is going to be in the inline damage equals XYZ type spot for the strength changes specifically.
There's a question about, we mentioned why we changed the Norse Pantheon logo. Is there a reason why we changed the Voodoo Pantheon logo? I think the UI art team felt like it was too much a Baron logo and not enough kind of generic Voodoo reflecting the mythology as a whole. So I think that's why that one was updated. I don't think there was anything more to it than that. It felt too Baron specific previously. Is there any way to turn down the sound for match found when tabbed out of the game? First you complain that there's no sound. Now you complain the sound's... No, I'm joking. We were talking about that this morning, and we are looking into that for sure.
Yep, definitely.
And also, have you guys looked into removing the limits in chat on laughs, taunts, and jokes like they were in Smite 1? Yes, I believe we already have done that in dev, and
I think so. We talked about it. I know that there's a feature in SMITE 1 that doesn't exist yet in SMITE 2 where you are not limited locally by your last taunts, etc. You can laugh as much as you want locally, but enemies and your teammates will only see you do it 5 times. So they are getting blocked in that regard. But you locally will be able to see as much as you want. So right now, I think what it is in live SMITE 2 is that it is getting spam blocked because, you don't want to be spamming your teammates as well. There's just no difference right now between what you see locally and what the client sees. So the spamming and things like that could definitely, be a bit of an issue, if that is unlimited. But, we'll see. We'll experiment with it. And if people don't mind it that much, maybe we just open it up and we leave it.
This is one that comes up a lot. Can we please add the option to highlight more item filters on the left? Like, can we have int and health items selected at the same time? So that's definitely something that we're aware of as a community desire. The way that it was designed right now, we felt like the best user interface solution was only having one selected because we didn't have a good way of denoting when you have 2 selected and being able to quickly click off of 2. Yeah. But we're aware that is something that we need to get fixed.
Yeah, so. It definitely is something in terms of parity for SMITE 1 as well. The people, click on their filters in different ways, and just having that option is really nice for those people that have that muscle memory of it. So we definitely are in discussions about finding a good solution for that. So I definitely am someone that appreciates the multi-filter capability. So we're trying to find a solution for that feels great for everyone.
See someone saying that they're having some frame drops specifically on PlayStation 5. I know where there was one instance that we were looking into. I think it was based around an Anubis skin that was causing frame drops. But if you have any more details on what's actually happening, about what time in the game that you're starting to see those drops, characters in the game, as well as that stuff will help us track that issue down for sure.
Yeah, I think as a whole, performance continues to improve, but there are definitely some outlying situations that can cause poor performance, and we're trying to track those down.
I've lost the exact framing of the question, but there was a question kind of relevant to, does the tech that you make for these current gods help you make other gods in the future? And the answer is yes. Absolutely. Yes, it does. That absolutely does. Having a character kind of split up by the way of what brand new features we need to add to SMITE 2 that will then allow us to make other gods. Odin was one of the first shield characters, and having a shield lets us make Imogen, lets us make Nemesis, and lets us make all these other characters that we've talked about before, that have that feature a lot easier. So in general, yes, the answer is absolutely. We try to, schedule these kind of with the combination in mind of what new tech do we need, what's going to be popular, what's going to be fun, what do we need to fill out the diversity of the game between pantheons, roles, play styles, things like that. But that tech is super, super important for us to be able to put those in order that makes sense for us prioritization-wise.
There's a question, can we get an option to never see the auto builds via UI settings? Yes, that's something that we are actually talking about this week, and basically splitting it into 2 flows to where if you are if you've selected auto builds, then you'll still be presented with the auto builds, and you will, or be able to switch to manual for that game, and be able to pick your relic in the way that it is now. If not, then you will just go into the store to buy everything, and you won't have the relic picker either, because you're going to have to open the store to buy everything else anyway. There has been some interesting conversation internally whether we should just start you with the store open, or if we should make you push a button to open the store at the beginning. I'm team, we should probably just open the store because you're going to push the button every game anyway.
Yeah.
But some people are like, but people aren't used to it being that way, so they might be upset. So I don't know. We'll see which way we go on that. But that is the conversations that we have internally. Trying
Imagine
to make
the years we add to the I key on your keyboard's lifespan.
Yeah, because it's one button press every game that we could take out.
Yeah,
right?
Anyway.
It's like why and I think it also prevents people from running out of base without buying any items. A little bit, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's it's small, but it probably makes the game a little bit better.
And then we can have little call-outs make sure you buy a little relic, make sure you buy a little, whatever you need, things like that. I don't know. I hadn't heard about this before. Right now, I'm not even joking, and I'm team open it.
Yeah.
That does seem like it keeps a lot of people on track for what they need to do at the beginning of the game.
Cool.
Like
all right. Well, I'll
like
tell Travis your team.
Let's go.
Your team open it. There's a question. What if I don't want a console-friendly store? Sorry, no. As I understand it, you will still be able to have the center store experience with the current PC type or console type store interface, right? But the split store interface is going to switch to being the traditional console style if you're playing on controller. So if you want a split interface with the current store, I think what we found is that most people do not actually want that, and they prefer the old console way to navigate. Yeah. So we're bringing that back.
Will we be able to move the maps/edit your HUD anytime soon?
Not anytime soon, unfortunately, but yes, you will be able to do it. I think it's probably going to be one of those things that is after January, just because we have so much other stuff that we have to get done in the short term. We do have the bones of a HUD editor built out to where, like in our dev version, you can move things around and you can change the transparency and whatnot, but it's not polished. It's not a thing that, like, the screens all look super duper temp, and it isn't really QA'd. Like, there's probably some bugs with it. And it's a pretty sizable feature, actually. It's one of those things where console didn't have a HUD editor at all for 9 years of Smite 1's life, once we roll this out, it will be on both console and PC, but it probably isn't going to be, as part of our very first wave of stuff that we're getting done, because there's so much else that's kind of a UI priority that we need to get.
Yeah. The older gods seem to all have +1s. Will some of them receive a complete rework in the first 50?
Unlikely.
Yeah, I would say unlikely. I think that what we found is that some games, when they rework a character, the community's like, this is exciting and I like it. In Smite, we have never reworked a character and had the community actually be happy with it, I would say. I think the closest we've come...
split, yeah.
It's always split, right? There's some people that like it, there's some people that don't, and usually the people that aren't happy are louder than the people that are happy. So even if it is 50-50 or 60-40, it feels more like it was a bad decision. Yeah. I think about the only full rework that we've ever done that went over well was Loki, and that's just because so much of the community hated playing against Loki. Whereas every other rework we've done has just alienated the current player base so much that it makes... it was like, was this worth doing in the first place? Right. Freya's been back and forth 5 times,
Poor Freya.
Yeah, poor Freya. But yeah, I think that there are, where we see good opportunities, we aren't like afraid to do it, but I think that largely it has gone over better adding tweaks to a kit that players know and love versus trying to reimagine a god completely. Yeah. And if we're going to put in that much work to make a new kit, we're probably better off just making a new god and giving you the old god the way they were.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of that creativity and effort that goes into just reimagining characters, I think you get a lot of that with the +1 system that we've been working with, and we've had a lot of really cool success with being able to do that with characters. I mean, people have loved a lot of these changes, and we've been so excited to bring those to you. But again, we want to make sure that the characters that we're bringing to you are the iconic ones, the ones that you love, and they feel better than ever from Smite 1. And if we make them completely different in some way, they still have all of the pieces of, what makes a Cupid a Cupid, just for an example. Right. We don't want to break that for the people that love Cupid, that, have spent the past 12 years playing Cupid. We want to give you a Mordred or Hecate instead to be able to get those new play styles, get those new, feels with brand new characters, and then just make everyone else feel updated, feel like they came out in 2024, what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of really great changes are still on the way. So that's not to say, we're not going to have exciting changes. We're going to have exciting changes, y'all. It's going to be a lot of fun to see, what gods come in and what gets changed. But I do think that keeping those expectations that, yes, they will still be the same characters, and they will still have mostly the same kit, but they'll have some new fun things to play with, which I think is a nice happy medium.
For Smite 1, you said you weren't focusing on expanding existing pantheons, but rather looking for new, interesting characters. Will the same trend continue for new characters in Smite 2? I think, generally speaking, we're looking for what character adds something new to the roster in Smite 2, whether it's a new visual style that we haven't hit before that may appeal to a different group of players, whether it's a new gameplay hook that we're really excited about, whether it's a niche, gameplay feature that is enabled by them, whether it's a mythology that we haven't touched on that is popular with our player base that, we would like to touch on. I think those are the kinds of reasons why we choose to add a god and not just that, there's 10 Greek gods, so we should add an 11th or what. I think that we look a lot less at how many gods are in a pantheon versus what's an interesting new character to add to the roster. I think that we are aware as well that players generally don't like single god pantheons. So I think that we will largely look to not have single god pantheons, or if we introduce a new pantheon, it would be with the intent that at one day in the future we would probably go back and add a second god in that pantheon, but not feeling compelled to where we have to have two gods in a pantheon immediately. That's kind of the thoughts on that.
Cool. I've seen this one a couple times, and I'm going to rephrase it just a little bit. But for console players that are using keyboard and mouse, can they have button callouts that reflect their input method? Right now it's showing controller callouts.
We can look into that. Yeah.
Then we get different starters: anti-heal starter, lifesteal starter, int jungle starter. We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. In terms of starter items themselves, we definitely have noticed that there are some gaps for some certain kinds of characters. But, they kind of exist no matter where you go, right? There's not always going to be the perfect starter for every single character. But there are some things even here that you've mentioned that, do exist. I mean, Ruinous Poison, I think is 300 gold, which gives you 20% anti-heal.
Oh, yeah.
And that's value unmatched.
Yeah,
that's
so you can get a starter item and get the anti-heal item.
And get a chalice. And get pots. So you have the option there. Honestly, it's better than an anti-heal starter item, if I'm being completely honest with you. That kind of value has never existed in terms of anti-heal in Smite 1 ever. So you get 2 for the price of 1 in terms of that. Int jungle is something that we've seen a lot. We have definitely tried to, find some space for us to kind of explore that realm a little bit more. We know you guys want to play your Athena jungles, your Zeus jungles, doing some crazy things like that. So definitely on our list of things to tackle. When it will get tackled, I can't say for sure. It's really going to depend on what the schedule looks like. But we definitely recognize that there are some gaps right now, and we want to fill them at some point.
Int jungle starter is definitely the single item request that comes up the most often. So we're definitely aware of that one.
Ooh, this is a good question for Alex. How do we use the surveys we conduct?
Well, we read them. So we actually do read, I would say, almost every word of every survey that is sent in. We also have some employees who summarize the findings of the surveys for the design team and for each individual team that's affected and forwards the feedback from them. I think generally speaking, what causes things to rise up from the surveys is if we notice trends of things that are being reported, and then we dive more into the individual details about the experiences that are leading towards the trends that are being reported and how we can address that. If you are the only person who is reporting that you're upset with the way a specific god works or something, we definitely read it, but it may not be acted on in the same way as if we get a lot of comments about that. But we definitely do look at those surveys. We pay very close attention to the numbers and to the text feedback. And like I said, we are constantly bringing at least a couple times a week. There's some big thread about, the survey says this and we should do this. So
keep filling out the survey. It's greatly appreciated.
It is. It really is. There's also a question here. Is there a reason basically all the junglers are ability based? No Merc, no Baka, no Kali, etc. So I would say the reason is probably just because those are the most popular junglers, and we wanted to get the most popular junglers over first, so that people that jungle can play gods they're most familiar with. But the next jungler, who will be not in this next update, but the one after this, so 2 weeks from next week, will be Nemesis, as we've said. So, and Lermy's working on Nemesis. I don't know if you want to give us any spoilers or if you're...
I did see
Not quite ready.
someone in chat asking for a Nemesis +1 spoiler, so I'm not sure if you want to spoil.
I don't
anything.
know if I'll drop all of the information, but I will say that Nemesis is going to be more flexible than she's ever been before, which is going to be exciting. She's got a lot of interesting scalings. She's got scalings in places where she hasn't had them before, and I think one of the coolest updates to her is going to be in the very minute details of the shield and what the shield does. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys more about that stuff. We're still finalizing exactly what's going on with that, but let it be known that as resident jungle gamer, I got you guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, maybe we'll have Lermy on next week or something to talk more about Nemesis.
Oh gosh.
There's any chance to change the language of the game in the options? I would like to play the game in English. So the game uses your console or Steam level language choice. So if you changed your language choice at the console or at Steam level, then it would update the language in game. But we do not plan to have in-game language selection anytime soon. We think the group of people that would want to play the game in a different language than their platform is set to is pretty small based on all of our data. And it adds, oddly, it adds a certification check thing it adds another layer of confirmation on the platform side if we do that. So we're pretty okay with this world. If it doesn't feel good, let us know.
Any plans to make the hair/fur textures on Hercules better or more high quality? We've definitely seen that feedback a lot. It's been across several different platforms now, and we've had a discussion about it internally. As for what our plans are, it's not anything concrete at this point, but we've definitely heard the feedback, and we agree that we'd like to do something in the future. When that's coming or how much we'll change about it, I'm not at the ability to tell you. I'm not an artist, so all I know is that we've spoken about it and we understand the feedback and we'll action on it.
It's definitely on Ben's radar.
Ben had said he was looking at it.
Ben's our goat.
Yes. There are a lot of questions about the roadmap and what gods we're releasing when. I think after we get through this next update, we should probably have one of these shows where we go through kind of the full roadmap and the first 50 as we had planned.
Okay.
I think that until we got to a certain point, things were too likely to change for us to talk too much about it.
Before. The farther things out, the harder it is to talk about it because it's not locked in.
It's feeling really real though, just being able to see all of these different gods getting tested. I know we mentioned before having 7 or 8 new gods tested at the same time is incredible in terms of just what we've been able to achieve. So I just I can't be prouder of our team.
I was lurking in a playtest yesterday and there were 8 gods in the playtest that aren't on live servers yet, which is insane.
Who's the newest god that you've playtested?
Oh, that I've playtested?
Yeah.
Oh,
spoilers.
I'm allowed to spoil?
Yeah.
Okay. Medusa.
Oh,
there we go.
Yeah.
That's a good spoiler.
That's a good spoiler. Yeah. So definitely, we got a lot of gods in the pipeline right now. We're moving fast. Somebody says, "Are you guys working 24/7? This is insane."
I was working earlier this morning, so some of us maybe.
I would say that the team's working hard. We're putting in a lot of hours, but I don't think I have been in worse crunch situations before for some of our prior games. I think
it's all out of love.
It is. It's all out of love. Everybody working on this game is a SMITE hardcore. A lot of people came from the community. A lot of people have been working on this game for a decade.
That's crazy.
Everybody just wants SMITE 2 to succeed. So we're happy to put the time and effort into it. And we just hope that you all see, the outcome of what we've been working on, because we really want this game to be great, and we want people to play it for another decade. I want to be able to hit the cues, with my daughter when she's old enough to play, right? That'd be fun. So
Cool. All right. Well, you're past 2 p.m. That means it's time for one more question. One more question.
We need a little
little jingle.
I know, right?
Someone get on that.
I could hit a button and play the
I've been getting these TikToks recently of this guy who opens old Pokemon packs.
Oh my god! Yes.
Should I open it or should I keep it sealed?
Should I open it or should I keep it sealed?
Yeah, it's so good.
I love that.
It makes me want a jingle for everything that we do. So anyway. So everybody picks a question, and then we answer one more question each. So,
all right.
Let's let chat fill up a little bit.
Give us your questions.
I'm going to answer a silly one today because normally I answer a serious one. Can we get a Chef Herc skin that throws a meatball for his ult? I love that idea. I think that would be really fun. And I'll make sure that we put it on the mood boards for future skins for Herc because that is a fun idea. And we've got all the different, we got the pizza skin, we got the Vulcan meatball
Chef
skin.
Vulcan,
Yeah. So
Osiris has one too.
He does.
Yeah,
yes.
I love it.
So I think that's a good idea. I'll put it on the list of things that we will at least consider in the future.
Okay, but Chef Sobek, where he's flipping people.
Oh my goodness!
With a big spatula. Come on, y'all.
That's great.
Come on, y'all.
This is a thing that will never happen probably. But at one point in time, we were talking about like crossover stuff that we could do. I was like, oh, we should make SpongeBob Sobek, with the spatula, for the flip. SpongeBob is not a franchise that is available to be licensed into SMITE 2, so not something that's going to happen. But is something that we had talked about at one point in the past as we were, talking internally.
Yeah, that would be funny. Okay, I have one that I'd like to answer. Any thoughts on allowing the 3K pots to stack for games that go long enough it feels bad to not have anything further outside of words to purchase? We've definitely talked about 3K pots. We understand that, you guys want more things to do at the end of the game. I know, we don't have a lot of those core systems like glyphs and relic updates and upgrades and things like that we had in SMITE 1 that you could, spend a lot of that late game gold on. And 3K pots are definitely something that, is good to spend on. One thing that we've noticed, of course, is that, you just you buy the pots and you're out of stuff to buy. And then, of course, that we're not also having a protections or defensive 3K pot as well for those tank players that want to get extra tanky. So definitely keeping things like that in mind to make sure that you guys are feeling like, number one, you got stuff to buy all the time. Number two, that it's affecting everybody in the game, as much as you can. And number three, that you guys are ending games at times that, you feel are acceptable. We don't want games to be going on for 60 plus minutes,
right. Yeah.
Let's save those for the crazy World Finals type deal. Everyone's on the edge of their seat type thing, and not for my random game on a Saturday at 6 p.m.
This is a crazy idea which would break our UI and we probably can't actually do. But this person says, let us buy an extra item slot for 3K gold. Ooh. That is a wild idea. I don't think it works with the UI, but it is a good idea. Yeah.
All right, my last question. We talked about text chat a little bit. Will SMITE 2 on console have access to post-game chat and all chat? We're not going to do all chat. We talked about that. But I think it's just, the question is, will console players have text chat parity to PC players?
Yeah, so that is the goal for right now. Things are possible to change as we implement them, and once we implement text chat, it has to be approved by the consoles. Like the implementation has to be approved and be in line with all of their rules and restrictions. But yeah, the idea is that it will be 100% one-to-one parity with PC text chat. So there will be text chat in the post-match lobby that is cross-team, just like on SMITE 1 PC. So that is the intent. We will see as we actually develop it how it goes. But yes, that is our goal right now.
Cool.
Yay.
Well, that's all of our one question for the show. That's a week for us, right? That's the last Titan Talk of the week.
Last Titan Talk of the week.
Chat, thanks so much for hanging out.
On a flat Sobek Friday.
On a flat Sobek Friday, no less.
Best day of the week.
I know, right? Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Killgoon, Lermy, thanks so much for hopping on the show.
For having me.
Love doing these things. Chat, we've got Casual Friday up next. If you want to hang out, potentially play some games with some of the crew, we're going to be queuing, doing some casuals with you all. I believe we've got SMITE Too Long Didn't Watch to cover esports. This is the last week of Swiss, so
That's
be sure
exciting.
to tune in this weekend to see who's making their way to playoffs here, upcoming on the road to Vegas. So until then, we'll see you next week, Monday, 1 p.m. for the next edition of Titan Talk, and hopefully we'll have some news about when Ron Sobek will be available on live servers.
Yep.
Yay.
Cool. All right, well, take it easy, chat. We'll see you next time. Peace out.